5 key points as fast as I can, 4 or 5 key points of the things you should be doing right now to stimulate your business or really prepare for the new year at the same time, but not lose your momentum. And of course, the bonus one, I'll give you the bonus one early. Don't stop prospecting. And with the weather the way it is, for some of you who live in super cold areas, consider that an opportunity to dress very nice and go door knock. If you live in warmer climates like myself, it gives you an opportunity to dress nice and go door knock. I'm not a big fan anymore of like knocking in high heat because then you have to wear these casual clothes and as comfortable as it is, going door to door in a suit or with like a tie is far more impressive. Ladies, dressed in business attire with, durable shoes that will not hurt after, 2 hours, 3 hours of door knocking. That will lend credibility and have people, I don't know, maybe less hostile or more receptive. So door knocking is right here on the horizon. Probably Monday is the game plan. So key points. The first thing you want to do is get your video game on up to snuff. I'm not going to beat this horse too much, but if you are in any way reluctant to be a public figure, a ambassador, a representative of the community, you need to reconsider the career. I don't think it's the case because you're watching my content. So I have to assume that you're willing to do whatever it takes and that you will accept yourself as a public facing individual. That if you join this business because you're good with people, which is most people think that this is a people business versus a problem solving business. Sure, there's a lot of very successful real estate agents who you really don't even know what they look like because they run in the background. However, I've always said that the most popular agent wins. The agent who is the number one agent in your town is probably number one because they're the most popular. That they get their name out there, they get their word of mouth. How are you supposed to create a situation where you have homeowners who are going to be open to speaking with you about selling their house if they don't even know who you are? So unfortunately, this is one of those businesses where you get out there. The easiest things, platforms like TikTok, it's always under fire, but Instagram, Facebook, you probably have, besides the fear of going on camera, it's okay, fine. Where do I go on camera if I was to go on it? Do I do short form? Do I do long form? Do I do YouTube? Do I do videos of what do I do? I think the easiest thing still remains to just share. If you can create an avatar, an individual who one of your past clients, a sphere of influence, somebody who when you're with them brings out the best in you and you just want to dump all of your day on them, good and bad, that if you can create, and this sounds, but this is how I do it. I do it all the time. A visual representation of that individual who will be accepting to the things that you say and will listen to you, then transfer that that energy to your phone. If you're not comfortable on camera, I'm only comfortable on camera because of the amount of time I've done it. But in 2011, I did something that still, I don't know how I pulled it off, but I did 24/7 in 2011 is what I called it. And this is before YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. There was really no live. It seems hard to imagine a time before being able to go live and do a live on your phone. But that didn't really hit YouTube and Instagram and Facebook till, believe it or not, like 2013, 14. To do it in 2011, to go on your phone and go live on the internet like we are doing now, it wasn't really a thing unless you used programs like Stickcam, Bamboozer, live stream, Ustream, Justin TV, to name the top of them. I know them all because I was heavily into live. I'm not going to get into details of my Christmas variety show that I was doing back then. But what I did was I would go live. And in 2011, I said, you know what? I want to do, I was really in a good mood, 2011. And I decided to just stay live. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, technology permitting, batteries, internet connection as best I could. Before selfie sticks, I had a stick with a mount, and I was live. Like, you could go on to, well, the one I was using was Stickcam. They're no longer there. You could see me, like, where's James? And I was there. And there was no fame, there was no popularity. By the end of the year, there was roughly over 1 million pings to my channel. The company who was running that site featured me on their front page all the time because of the project. And I still, at the end, when they shut down about 2 or 3 years later, we chatted and I got a terabyte of all of those. So that image, the footage still exists. I just can't have the time to edit. And what a year in 2011 for me to do that. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is I deliberately went out there to try to see how I behave, like an introspective journey into who am I if I always feel like I'm being watched? Am I still myself? And that year and all the experiences in that life really made me comfortable with communicating in a room by myself to a lens and imagining and putting into my mindset that I'm speaking to someone who wants to hear what I have to say, and really blocking as hard as you might think. It is hard. Blocking out those individuals who are the haters, the trolls, the naysayers, the people who cringe at your content, whatever. They're outsiders, right? We're not going to please all the people all the time. And if you want a fine example, look at religion. How many religions are there out there? And you think you're going to go out there and knock it out of the park with, like, no one's going to dislike you? When we've got wars starting over disliking other people's styles, beliefs. So if you can overcome and have faith, similar to a religion, that you have faith in what you're doing and that you are providing a resource of exhaustion and release, where you, in my opinion, it's always been a journal style where you want to start documenting your life. You want to start creating these snippets. 100 years from now, if our planet's still here, I'm going to assume it is, I'm optimistic, what you're creating in these platforms will be something that, as far as I'm concerned, is legacy. It makes you somebody. I mean, what would you do to be able to go back and see your grandparents? Hey everybody, this is da-da, and you'd be like, wow, this was, look at the background. So you got to find the ways to be passionate about video. For me, it's documentary, it's sharing the information. What software I would recommend to you is I would just go straight to Instagram. And inside of Instagram, there's a function called stories. And if you go to the stories, you can, if you want, you can text me. You know where to find me. If you don't know where to find me, then you can text me and I'll send you this shortcut, which I have put on my desktop of my phone, where I'll show you here. Come on, touch it. That when I hit that button, it automatically goes to the story, right? So that all I do is hit one button, and then the next button is right here, me demonstrating and recording in a live stream what process I use to create these little short form videos. And then once you hit stop, there it is right there. You can pick up and change the scene and continue. And these are little 60-second snippets. If you have, I'm teaching you this video because the video thing is robust. It's a rabbit hole. But what happens is, in the back end of Instagram, you can say, hey, send this to Facebook, because you want to know what platform should I use. Instagram is a visual platform. And people, people are conditioned to watch these short form videos, unlike YouTube where it's longer. But what you can do is take those little snippets. Let's say you're walking into a listing presentation. Okay, I'm walking. Hit that button. Hey, I'm walking into a listing presentation. And remember, you're not talking to the internet. That's too big. You're talking to a friend, right? You've seen me do this lately, where I have Chat GPT and I've put a voice to it. And I have these conversations. This being. I don't know who you can put in that avatar's place so that you can feel comfortable talking to it. When you hit send, it's going to go to Instagram stories and it goes to Facebook. But the third place you send it to is your camera roll. And at the end of the day, you can go in there, depending on your level of how much you want to invest in it. But at the end of the day, you can hit a button up here and say, give me the whole entirety of the 10 or 15 pieces of what I've created. And it will send you one video with those little cuts. Hey, I'm walking in the open. And now you'll have, you'd be surprised, a minute to 5 minutes of already edited and cut your day. You take that little mini cut, that little edit, go back into Instagram and say, make a reel, grab that 2 to 3 minute, which is the identical stuff you talked about today, but now it's a reel. You can take it to the next level and do CapCut or iMovie, put a little bumper, an intro, an outro. I mean, that's just going down a rabbit hole. But if you just want to get it out there, put it back on Instagram. And then now you have a reel of your day. From that reel, you send that to the story again. And now, hey, there's a new video. So the people who probably, because if they're following a lot of people, didn't see those little snippets, and those snippets disappear within 24 hours. But in your reel is a video. And so they can see that, and it'll be boom, 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 and it'll be like one little tag, right? That's called vlogging, video log, right? Video diary. Just that in the real estate business has gotten me a lot of not only business, but attention, especially if you're interesting or do interesting things, if you have something that interests you. I mean, some people are like, oh, I don't have anything interesting. My day's pretty boring. That sucks. I guarantee you, if you're totally boring, but you really, really enjoy underwater basket weaving. It's a thing. I've heard about it. Where, like, it sounds boring, right? Like, no, but there's this one thing. I like to sew socks into frog puppets. Whatever you're into. That I like. Like, what do you do when you say, man, I can't wait to do that? I babysit my grandkids. That's the joy of my life, right? And I love giving them toys, and I love watching them play. So that, if whatever this, everybody, as boring as they are, has something that they really like. Just some people, especially, those with the attention deficit disorder, has a lot of things. So there's always something in my life that I'm always into something. I've always got something going on, which makes, the creation of content easier to find things to talk about, but it also makes it so that I don't really have the time to go in there. If you look back through my YouTube archives, I spent some time on some of those videos where I would deliberately like turn the camera sideways and get a landscape. But the more I went into it, the less I was hitting record. And now all of a sudden I was spending more time making video, being a digital video creator, instead of doing real estate or living life. I would dread at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I gotta edit this video. And then you start learning editing and transitions and colors, and it's a rabbit hole. And you really, as I always say, you never want to have to, but you have to want to. And how do you find your want to? In key number 1 of pivoting for success, not just now, but in the future, it's that. Now, let's say off screen, you are truly boring. Like you have, you think you have a face for radio and a voice for, silent movie era, right? You're going to have to get over that, your public brand. But if you want to minimize that, you can focus the attention on other things like city events. There's always things going on. Every town has one. Go to your city hall website. Go to all your 2 or 3 local high schools websites. There's always plays. There's always theaters, fundraisers, networking events, which I never do those. But there are coming in the holidays. There's trick or treating. There's, you can go right now and go drive around. Hey, everybody, I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to go and I'm huge on Halloween. I'm pretending to hold my phone. Ladies and gentlemen, I keep hearing people tell me all the time about all these amazing haunted houses. Well, it turns out, I don't know if you know, on the Nextdoor app, they have this thing where you can find it. And also the city of Yorba Linda is doing this contest. So I'm going to gather some information about cool Halloween houses. Come with me, right? Now your face is off. You do a 30-second intro, which, how do I ever survive any of this without ChatGPT? Because now you can just go in and say, hey, ChatGPT, give me some things. Here's what you do. It puts it together, and wait till the video is so much. Oh man, we're just a short time away before I'm just gonna be able to talk to my computer and say, hey, do me a favor, and all these videos in this folder, put it together, in the style of Casey Neistat. Throw an intro, outro, bumper, hit send, download it. I only want it to 3 minutes. Make sure it's highlighted. Make sure that right. It's like within 2 years, I'm already seeing that stuff. Not the avatar. That's still probably another year. But I'm passionate about video, and I go into this video because what that does is that when you start creating and it's attraction, you're getting your name and your brand and your face out there where people start to know you. They get to know your face. My city, on many occasions, especially door knocking, I don't know who they are, and I don't necessarily, I don't advertise, right? The one thing I do is those sticks at the grocery store. That's not really, there's advertising, but not everybody sees that. But many times when I'm door knocking, they'll say, so, hi, my name's James. I'm write my script, and they'll say, Festini, right? I'm like, oh yeah. I watch your videos all the time. You're hilarious. Or, hey, I saw that video about the Oktoberfest. Hey, they call out that. And that tells me that I'm getting places with this information. They have told the story several years ago where I was, someone had hit my car when I was parked in a parking lot. And so I came out. Obviously, you're passionate about someone, hitting your car and breaking the headlight. Didn't break my headlight, but it scuffed my car. It's still there. I never fixed it because it's not a priority. But I knew that this was something new and interesting and would cause dialogue. So I immediately went to Instagram. I go, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm here at the Yorba Linda High School parking lot, and I want to tell you something. I have a feeling somebody hit my car, and I'm like pointing, and I'm like crouched down. I'm saying, somebody hit my car. Now, if you're, let's say, I'm not blaming anyone, but if it's a teenager and your car comes back and it's missing this, and I pick up a piece of the headlight, if your car is missing this, somebody hit me with your car. I go, please let me know. No harm, no foul, but my car's fine, but you might want your headlight, and you scratched it. But I went into that, hit stop. I am not kidding when I say the next day I was out in my driveway and somebody from the neighborhood, I didn't recognize them. They go, I'm out there doing something at the front of my car, and they slow down next to me. They go, hey, James, do you ever find out who hit your car? I'm like, no, as a matter of fact, I knew exactly how they found me. Was that video? Because I really didn't. Did you ever find it? Well, good luck, man. And then I'm out door knocking, later, like a day or two later, half mile away, and someone goes, did you ever find out who hit your car? I'm like, son of a gun. I mean, that happens more often than you think. The Oktoberfest, that comes around, I've knocked on the door. I felt like I was being pranked one time where someone, 2 instances on the same door knocking session within an hour of each other, said, Festini, right? Yeah, we saw the video on this. I'm not spending money for this. It's local. These businesses, more than ever, Facebook just launched a very hyper local. Being a local is critical. And to be able to advertise you as a brand and doing it locally, bringing attention and interest where people see you all over the place. I don't have to advertise. This isn't advertising for me. This is me having fun, hitting record. My only downfall is that my wife is, what do you call, troll. So a lot of times she's like, your tie was crooked. I'm like, babe, I'm not thinking about my tie. Can I just do video? She goes, why does your left eye look smaller than your right eye? I go, really? My eye? I go, unsubscribe from my channel. I'm going to block you, right? Because I don't care what anyone thinks, but she is one of those people who gets in my head. So anyhow, do look into video. If you want to know more about this, you can always ask me, but I'm very passionate about it. I spent a little more time than I wanted to, but presenting yourself to the public for free is one of the most valuable assets you can do. And that's how people get to know, like, and trust you. That's the ultimate goal. When they know, like, and trust you, how do they choose you? Love or money? And if they love you because your content and they know, like, and trust you, you'll be the obvious choice because people think they know you. When you go into a presentation, they're like, I feel like we know. How many times have I gone into a list? I feel like I know you, right? That video was this. Hundreds of instances, right? So getting yourself out there, just critical. And I'm not talking about advertising. You know, I don't like advertising. But I have no problem with self-promotion. Look at Donald Trump. Love him or hate him, dude has got the art of self-promotion. He doesn't pay for his advertising. Other people do it for him. Like, you got to really admire that. He just does his thing, and he'll get the no news is good news, bad news is what? There's no such thing as bad publicity. I don't know, whatever. But he leverages the hell out of that thing. He everywhere he goes, it's just like front page news. So pretty impressive. But that is the art of self-promotion without having to finance it. And he's probably one of the best, if not the best, hype man for his own game, right? So video content, just create it. Second thing, I'm going to fire through these now. Personal branding. If you're going to go out there creating this content, go out there and identify yourself. You know, what are your key points? What are your unique selling propositions? What sort of image are you going to represent? Do you have a certain style? Is there something to you that is unique to you? Not just colors, right? Color codes. But the way you present it, is there a theme that's consistent throughout all of these platforms? A website, for example, if you have a website that converts or you buy into that, or if you're going out there, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all of these places, is it the same photo on every one? Have you gone through and made sure that you're consistent with your branding? Is your name the right way? Is your title the right way? Is your number the right way? Is the address the right way? So many times I go into, especially if someone joins my Mojo League, I create a profile of each one of you guys, with the email address, and I send you a quick email saying, hey, welcome to the league. And what I'll do is I'll do a quick little Google search of you, right? The email that you registered with Mojo, which again, 9 out of 10 times is crap at 123 horse lady at Yahoo, freemail.com. I'm like, what in the F? I surely hope that's not the case. I'll cut and paste it, anonymity, right? But maybe one random link, and I'll go into the link, and I'll find that maybe you can afford a legitimate website, but it'll be like the company website. Fine. Don't care. But the company website doesn't have your photo. And so I go back and I'm like, okay, why isn't there a photo? Is this person something wrong? And then I go back out and I go, oh, wait a second. That's not even the company they're with. What's going on? A complete disconnect of your brand is one of the better ways to be made undesirable by someone who wants to check it out. People are curious by nature, and if your personal branding is not on point in every platform they go to, so if you go to my Snapchat, if you go to my Instagram, if you go to my Facebook, if you go to my TikTok, it's going to carry a very consistent theme. Now, one of the struggles that you might have with your personal branding is you don't really know what direction to go to. For me, I have so many different hobbies. I really, I am the suit and tie guy, but as soon as the suit and ties, I've got so many other things that I'm not, this person. Like Remember the show King of Queens with Kevin James, where he worked for UPS, and most of the show I don't even think it was UPS, but it was obviously UPS. the The whole show wasn't him and his business. It was everything else outside of it. He just happened to be dressed like that. That's the way this works. So if you are a party animal, you like to go to parties. If you're maybe just out of college and you're still hanging out with the frat boys, I haven't gone to college, but I have been known to do a keg stand or shots or shotgun beers in a suit. They know that you're human. It's okay. People want to People want to like people that are like them. And the more you can be yourself and just forget it. I mean, man, you see some of the things these people wear, some of the things people are doing in public. Your first reaction is, what the hell's the matter with them? My first reaction is, man, I wish I had that kind of guts to just, that person should not be wearing those pants, right? And you're like, but their confidence in themselves. Once upon a time, I was at a fair, and this guy had a fedora on, the old classic hat. And I don't know why, I just felt compelled to go up to him and say, dude, I gotta tell you, man, I love your hat. It's really cool. I wish I could. I have one of those. I can't wear it. I don't feel like I'm comfortable. He goes, dude, you just got to rock it. Be yourself. I'm like, and from there on, I wear my fedora all the time. And an interesting thing happens when you wear a fedora in a suit. Whoop, all eyes on you, which is fine by me because that's my character. That's who I am. There's no impersonation. There's no fakeness. There's who wears a fedora? Who is that guy, right? Like, oh, that's James Festini. He's a real estate agent. But man, you should see his videos. And like, really? The conversations, because you're being yourself. Being yourself is one of the biggest things you can do. But personal branding has to reflect yourself. What are the colors? Can you embrace a certain color palette and say locked in? My days back with Century 21, for example, I learned to like these off browns and blacks and golds. They just happen to be colors that I liked anyhow. And then being a Saints fan, right? New Orleans Saints. They just the colors. So now when I go to my default browns, I go to the hashtag BEAF8A, which is a specific brown, if you know about hex codes and color schemes, and everything else that matches with it. Because, and you'll see that in my websites, in my marketing, in my pieces, they all have a certain look, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be you, and you're perfect. That wasn't cheesy, was it? Just be yourself, but make sure that you go through and look at these things. These are things that when you're out there exposing yourself in public, people are going to look for you. And when they go to YouTube, how many agents do I know in the area who have YouTube on their card or whatever, on a listing presentation especially, if I'm like, hey, you happen to have the information from the other agent? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know this one. Okay, so let me show you the difference. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I'm going to show you the difference between their marketing, or this is what you're looking for. You can see here, there's YouTube. Let's go to the YouTube channel. No videos. I'm like, why is that there? I'm like, I don't know. I said, they're telling you something's there, but it's not there. What else isn't there? Like I said, I wasn't going to throw them under the bus, but if they're advertising something that doesn't exist, hey, they're on Instagram. Let's look up their Instagram. Okay, maybe they're here. Where's their real estate? What are they doing to promote, themselves or properties? I don't know. I said, well, you're looking for marketing, right? You're looking for something unique in an agent that you're going to hire. So far, there's nothing there that has any value to you. Mr. and Mrs. Eller, I'm coming to you to show you how I bring that value. I'm not looking for a listing. I'm looking to prove to you that I'm the right choice, not just, for the knowledge of their experience. But when I tell you I'm doing something, it's because you can see proof that I'm doing it, right? Stuff like that. All right, so yeah, just practice getting out there, making sure that your brand is consistent with who you are. These are things that as we wind into, I don't want to say wind down because I never wind down. I'll wind down when I'm done, dead. Keep going. The holidays, forget about it. The holidays are Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Eve, which is in the evening, so that doesn't count. So just say New Year's Day. Because quite honestly, you could door knock on New Year's Eve and no one's going to be like, oh, it's New Year's Eve. I'm like, that's at midnight. What's that have to do with my day? I'm not a banker, I'm working. So 4 days and then throw in some Jewish holiday or two and maybe Kwanzaa, right? Whatever. 7 days, 1 week, you're going to shut down and not produce results for 1 day, 1 week. And quite honestly, some of those holidays you barely celebrate, right? Like maybe Thanksgiving Day, maybe Christmas Day. And the rest of them are like, nope, it's not. No. So don't give yourself the excuse. These little things you can do, even if you just don't stop prospecting, guys. The best time to prospect is the holidays because, so walking up to their front yard and having the decoration. Hey, okay. Hey, by the way, love your decoration. Thanks for being in the spirit. Right. And then leave little compliments here and there. You can do that where, during the summer, like, I love your dead lawn. Right. Community engagements, not local networking events. I hate those, but these next couple of months, you're going to be in situations where you are on I only cite mine because I know them. Main Street, right? There's going to have the Christmas thing. They're going to have the boat parade around the corner coming. They're going to have the Handel's Messiah. There's this big thing at the Richard Nixon Birthplace Library. So there's going to be an event there. 2 or 3 art events that happen in between here. There's going to be these holiday style things. Forget Halloween, dude. Every neighborhood has that freak. I happen to be that person. So people get bussed into our neighborhood, and since I've been here for almost a decade, it's been contagious. So like now my whole neighborhood's really getting into the Halloween thing, and so hundreds of people are going to, at least 200, because I hand out full-size candy bars, and I have my face and my sticker on it, right? And I think this year I have a pumpkin on my head. Full-size candy bars at the door, but I am there more often than not as James Festini, but maybe with like zombie makeup or a cloak. But my van is right there in big bold letters. I even move it strategically even closer to my driveway with a skeleton and flashing lights, all the other hot cobwebs and stuff. So the people are like, James, every year, man, strangers who I don't even know for like 2 years. Yeah, man, we trick or treat at your house every year. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it because that is one of those events that networking, they come to me because that's triggered. What other opportunity do you have where parents are door knocking you? But if you suck at Halloween, go buy, $20 worth of web and just do that. Put a big web across the top of your house, buy one strobe light and you're good to go. And then people will remember that's what they do. I have all of these events. I put on an ice cream thing, $300 at the end of the school year. My art, forget it. So there's always these events. Community engagement is epic. I have the Facebook page, Your Belinda Bulletin, which has 2,500 locals who are actively, eyeballing what's going on in the city. It has nothing to do with James Festini, but when I need to put out something real estate related, I can do that. And it has the eyeballs of the community. But not only that, I am actively engaged in my community by creating content around events that are part of the city, with the only expectation being that when somebody says, oh, yes, I'm interested, they're going to automatically be curious, because curiosity is going to be the thing where it's almost passive reverse prospecting, where you just put something valuable in front of them. And then when they say, where did this come from? Or they do any investigation, immediately then my face pops on. Like James says, oh yeah, I've seen that, right? Oh, I see the guy who does the art. So many people with my art, my murals here. Now it's to the point where so many people know me as an artist, where I have to say, yeah, that's me. I'm the artist, but believe it or not, I'm a much better real estate agent. You guys have any of that needed? They're like, no. But if I think of someone, I'm like, all right. But I twisted that line into like inserting it because, again, all the time people are like, oh, you do that? Oh my gosh, you're so good. You're so talented. I'm like, if you think I'm talented there, I'm a much better real estate agent. You guys have any real estate needs? And like, no. I'm like, all right, well, had to get that out of the way. But yes, thank you. And we talk about the art. Being yourself, guys. This is such an important topic. But you got to work. You can't not have leads so that they fill in the holes. It's always people come and they'll say, "Hey, James, how come you don't hire telemarketers?" I say because if I hired 100 telemarketers, what would I do? I mean, I would probably be stuck on the phone following up and qualifying. I'd be doing follow up, right? There's no shutting that off. So if I hired 5 telemarketers, what would I do? I get on the phones, and then when one of them says, "Hey, Reco," or whatever, and I'm like, "Okay, here we go," and I'll get on the phones. But most of the time, when I'm cold calling or door knocking, it's really just not long term investment. Some of them are rather quick, but it is me trying to identify motivation, and then more often than not, the motivation is farther than stand up and scream Reco and have me run over there and like take over the phone and do it. It's more of a, hey, this is a good lead. They send in about a month from now, so we'll send out package or whatever and call in a week from now, and they're not going to know who called them the first time versus the second time. And you say it was me. Okay, so then the last thing is the point that I was making: reliable lead generation systems. A reliable lead generation system is a formula that works instead of playing the guessing game of what may or may not actually work. Meaning, the difference between lead generation and inquiry acquisition, to me, is night and day. It becomes very obvious, especially when a company approaches me, as they probably approach to you guys all the time, where they say, do you want listings? Do you need more of this? You get them texts and emails all the time from companies baiting me in with some variety of lead generation, listings in particular, right? Because we got buyers and sellers. Forget paying for buyers. Jeez, I can't even imagine. I mean, my dad was a buyer's agent back in the 80s. And yes, of course, he would pay money to be on the back inside page of Harmon Homes or Homes and Land magazine. And that would get calls because there was no internet, no MLS, no resource for people to find the information. It was the magazine at the coffee shop and here, and that was it. And so people had to come to you. There was no internet. So it made sense. Advertise in paper, people will call you because they're curious, because they didn't have access to this information. Now, with the access to the information, there's so many resources and so many places that a buyer can go to find, and sellers can go to find information. How are you, assuming you're checking for listings, how are you going to find homeowners in your area? Forget about homeowners in your area, however far you're willing to go. I say 30 minutes on a bad day is probably almost the limits of where I'd go. Otherwise, comfortably, 20 minutes in one direction, right, for a listing lead. If it's super hot, I would love it to be closer because I jump up and drop something off. What I'm getting at is, when you go out into the world to try to find a reliable lead generation system, you got to say, what is a lead? What is a lead by most people's definition? Who are the real estate agents who spend money on advertising when whoever that, let's just say Zulia, Zedfin, whatever platform you pay money to, and it's connected to your whatever, and all of a sudden something goes ping, and now you have an email address, maybe a name, probably not a phone number, but besides that, something about what they're curious about. And if it's a listing lead, it probably says someone who's curious about the value of their house. I'd be shocked if you had access to a system that said, I'm interested in selling my house. Most of them are just free CMA. Let me, find out what your home is worth. People who say I'm interested in selling my house don't just randomly fill out forms and say, "Give me whoever." They've got like 10 people already. By the time they're ready to say that, they're not going to, the web to just register anything. They need to go to their mailbox. They're probably on their, everywhere. There's too many agents. So what I'm getting at is the obscurity and the improbability, really, the odds that you have to play to weave your way to finding a homeowner who is motivated, who is interested in selling their house, but their first curiosity is what the value of their house is. Oh, wait, I should have started with location, location, location. Finding a homeowner in your area, because sometimes, these leads, inquiries that I get through the internet, when they do reach out, they're way out there. I know I've never even stepped foot in that city, so I really can't help. We can do referral, but when you want to get listings, which you want to have a listing, a homeowner who wants to sell their house, the best kind of listing isn't one and done. It's putting a sign in the yard, being able to go to there, hold the open house, the neighbors see it, putting a sold sign at the top along with all of your video and marketing and branding. You're there, you're standing in the front, you knock on the doors in the area to let them know you're farming the area. It's like a virus, right? That especially if you get it in your favorite community that you wish you could sell in, and then you get one there, it's like you just don't want to you kind of don't want to sell it because you get more out of it for advertising power and people seeing your name and huge benefits you can reap. But when you generate a lead, to me it's not a lead until I speak to them. It could come in through the internet and it could say, I'm curious about I'm curious about what my home is worth. For example, I'm guessing those are the kind of leads that maybe people pay. More often than not, I'm curious about the market, or whatever. I don't even know how buyers leads work. It's been so long since they go directly to your email or they message, hey, I'm curious about that, or they'll just call you, right? Or they'll text you, hey, I'm curious about 123 Main Street. It's just such a different technology now where each one of these, most buyers, the second they enter the marketplace, they've downloaded 2 or 3 apps. And within that alone, they've connected with at least 2 or 3 agents. So it's just kind of there's so much, I could just go on and on about how like it goes from holding something to having it just kind of fall through your fingers because there's just too many, you can't hold on to it. It's an invisible and it's a moving target, especially buyers, right? But a seller who says, I'm curious about the value of my house is not a lead. I can prove it to you. I have a lot of those people inside of either HomeBot or HomeIQ or CoreFact. 2,000 roughly now. Individuals who I've spoken to at some point or another who have indicated that they might be interested in the value of their house, or more importantly, are they thinking about selling their house because you heard my script and they say, no, not now, maybe later. And I say, okay, I'd love to send you out some information. Maybe later we can talk. And I put them into this database and then they check it very often. But if I had a listing for even just 1/10 of what I have in that database, just from the people who are regular, what I call checkers, who they get up in the morning, they'll look at the news, they'll check the weather, they'll check their Zillow value, they'll check my HomeBot or HomeIQ value, check the traffic, and go to work, you'd be surprised. That's why Zillow is roughly 220 million monthly active users, even if it's 220 million yearly active users. With 4 to 5 million homes sold, that means there's 195 million nothings. And those are the very same people that are coming from this space called advertising, that the return, it's just a moving target. Not saying it's not. Hey, most of the agents are actually surviving and thriving with this. I just can't live in that gray space. I want to know for sure. I can't do not closure. I have to be done. That's why when you build a reliable lead generation system, when you have something that is feeding you enough and you go in there, you need a CRM, lead generation system, that will handle the amount of leads that you're getting. And if these leads are originally inquiries, and then you talk to them and you say, hey, what is it? What's your plans? What are you doing? They say, oh, no, I'm just curious about the value. Okay, great. I'll send it to you. And then you just put them in there as a drip campaign. Or are they a lead bypassing the inquiry phase where you call or door knock and you say, hi, I'm interested. Are you thinking about selling? Okay, great. I'd love to send you out some information. Then you put them into that database. Regardless of where they come from, having a reliable, not just lead generation system. Because to me, a lead generation system is only cold calling and door knocking. A inquiry generation system that converts to leads, I just want to make sure those words in my mind are clear before I share them with you. It comes in as an inquiry, and then you have that conversation and qualify them as to whether or not they are a lead or just an inquiry. Do I actively pursue this individual with everything I got? Because doing that takes time and money. Do I send them a package? Do I start sending them mail? Am I going to invest the time to log them in? Am I going to invest the time to dial their number every couple months? What is the level of follow-up with a lead? Whereas an inquiry, until you know if it's a lead or not, your follow-up can't be dictated. And so a lead generation system or an inquiry a follow-up system is what it should be, right? Not even a lead generation so much as a lead follow-up, a contact follow-up, maybe a contact relationship manager. Is that the right word? CRM. And a CRM through 5 levels of communication that I've identified. I don't know of a 5th or a 6th. Mail, email, text, phone, door. Those are the only 5 ways that you can communicate with a person. And I know that some will say, well, what about this? Or what? They all come back to mail, email, text, phone, door. Well, what about networking, face-to-face? Door, okay, fine, you're not standing at the door, but you're face-to-face in real time. Well, what about text messaging? Well, what about MMS? What about DMs? Text, right? Mail. What about mailers? Mail. Well, what about no? You're either face-to-face on the phone or sending something that they touch. Mail, email, text, phone, door. And if you have a reliable CRM, I haven't found one that does all 5, but I use one that does 4 out of 5. And it just so happens to be that text, I'm not a fan of mass text anyhow. Even though I do think other things, it's very targeted when it comes to mail, email, and text. It's very targeted. Mail being 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, email being an email, whether it's a newsletter weekly or automatic, MailChimp or Dub, whatever it is you use to send an email. Better email is with tracking and opens and all that. Those are the passive, right? And then of course text, and that's just texting or DMing. Hey, it's James. I'm the real estate agent. We spoke last week. I was just wondering if you're still thinking about it. I'm sure you see my missed calls, when they don't reach back out to you and they're hot, you follow up in your CRM. And then phone door, which phone, obviously cold calling or follow up by telephone to communicate. Let's get together. And door, which is door to door or face to face. So what am I getting at? Those are my best points for how to get resurrecting your real estate business. I get very passionate about each one of these topics because that's what I do all day, every day. I am doing point number 1, video content creation and sharing my day to day, no matter how boring it is. And if my day is boring, I got to do better. I got to do more. And many times my videos are like today is a very big day. I'm going to, I'm going to do the yoga, got to fix this. And then I don't do anything for like 9 hours because I'm just on the phones. Then I'll pop back out and be like, all right, that was a 9-hour stint of calls. This is what I did. I got a hold of this. But now I'm going to go play some tennis. Right. And so you just come back. You don't have to sit there and be like, repeat, but you can share more often and do these little quick little videos of yourself. I do have the personal branding. Go on any one of these websites and it's going to be the same. You search James Festini, and not only that, the fact that I do create the content and that I've paid attention to all of the social networks will put me in a place where Google yourself, Google your name, go to Google right now and search what pops up. Is it anything? Because I know a lot of these people in my league, whatever, when I look up their name, near nothing. Like the first link is something, but it's not them. The second one might be. I mean, maybe because the name is more common, but even as I put your name and realtor next to it, I'm like, okay, there's 3 people named that. Which one is it? How can you tell the difference? It should be obvious. And if it's not obvious or attractive, then you got to work on that. That's what the consumer does. If they look for you and they can't identify between the 3 links inside of Google because it's not very clear, it's not polished, there's not pieces of the puzzle that should line up. When they click on the first one, that's not the right image. But it's in my area, but that's not the company. He said, maybe that's not him. And go to the second one, like, man, maybe that might be. I don't remember the company now. And then the third one, okay, I don't know. Just go with that one. And then you lose it. Whereas with you look with me, the first page of Google is going to have all my varieties of stuff. Once my son started playing football, then a few of his, because he has my name, a few of his stuff started popping up for football. But now he's not playing football. Hoping the internet kind of stuffs that down the, the archives. Because, yeah, there was a period there when he was doing good things with his high school football, and it was popping up. So anyhow, personal branding website, I believe in that, making sure that it's consistent. Always in a tie. Always ready to go. As you can see, for many years I had the realtor logo on my chest. I should get these stitched on my clothes, but even just being in a suit and tie has been a unique proposition in public. When I walk out, people are like, oh, you coming from work? I'm like, I'm always working, man. I'm a real estate agent, and like, oh, how's the market? Hey, it's great, man. Buying, selling, things are moving. You have any needs? Are you guys thinking about buying or selling? Where are you at? If it's that kind of person, right? And then, of course, building a reliable CRM, Mojo. They cover mail, email, text, phone, door. Text, again, I finger text. They don't do texting, but I'm not a big fan of texting. Now, if you want to do text, you can always go ahead and put phone link on your desktop, copy, paste, send it. But if I text, I do it this way, old fashioned, because it matters, right? Especially with rules and regulations. I'm not going to go and send 100 texts to anybody. That's playing fire. So anyhow, hopefully, wow, I think I kept it under 1 hour. Well, if you guys ever have any questions, or if you have a certain topic you want me to cover, every Friday at noon, as long as I don't eat really, really hot Chinese food, at noon, I'm there. And I appreciate it. I do one-on-one coaching, very limited. I just don't want anybody who isn't willing to work, because it's so frustrating. If I get a student and they're not working, it becomes pretty obvious after the first or second week that I'm going to have to pretend that I'm teaching you, because I need you to generate a lead. There's these doors that open. We can put the foundation, but I'm not there for that. I need you to get leads. I want you to get a listing. I don't want you to get your marketing package. I don't want to talk about a slam package. I don't want to talk about anything until you have, hey, James, I got this one. They said this. What do I do? And I say, aha, here's what you do. And, oh, man, I screwed up. I should have done that. No. Here's how you can undo it. Here you go. And then having that specific process, because if you are making calls and door knocking, you are going to get those people. And I think the hardest part about this business is, fine, I might have actually even gotten as far as to pick up the phone. Very few even sales trainers and coaches, I don't know any that teach you like the mechanics, the nuts and bolts. They might have the scripts here, call them, and if they say this, answer this. If they say this, answer this. But what about this? What do I click? Where do I go? How do I do? There's the surface, and then there's the below surface, and that's where I exist, because I live in it. And a lot of these coaches it's this theory that they can talk about it, but when you grill them for specific actions, they're like, oh, you just do it with this company or do it with that company. Like, okay, fine.